Hello, my friend. Welcome back to the Declutter 360 podcast. I'm Lauren, and I'm here to help you, as always, to live life organized from all angles. I hope by now, if you've been listening to the episodes of this podcast for a while, maybe you've been following along with the blog, I hope you're realizing that organizing truly is so much more than simply moving your stuff around in your physical space and helping yourself try to make sense of it all, right? Because, yes, there's this really important physical component to organizing that is required, right? But there's also so much work that needs to be done around your thinking and the things that you're telling yourself about your current organizational situation, your ability to get and stay organized, and everything else that kind of comes along with it. There's a lot of baggage and a lot of assumptions and beliefs and, thoughts and stories that we tell ourselves about our ability or our inability to be organized. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard from my clients, look, I'm just not an organized person. My friend, I'm here to tell you that that is a story that you are telling yourself. You are choosing to tell yourself that you're not an organized person. And you have the power to choose to tell yourself that you are working on being a more organized person. But that power only comes when you truly want to be a more organized person. And when you start to feel that pull towards wanting to get more organized, wanting to live more organized, wanting to be an organized person, there's also this, thinking where you have to understand why that is so important to you. And it's really, really a crucial piece of the puzzle to understand that underlying desire that you have to get organized. What's it all about? Where's it coming from? What's my motivation? It really is some of the most important thinking work that you can do that helps build this foundation for you to actually make the shifts to step into being a more organized person, if that makes sense, right? You have to have the mindset of an organized person. And we're going to dive even deeper into this in a future episode. I see it coming, but I kind of wanted to touch on that today because I think that some of that mindset, actually, probably a lot of that mindset, is what plays into kind of causing havoc around where we're going with today's episode. So, if you've already seen this week's blog post, you know what we're talking about. But if you haven't, today we're talking about how you can set yourself up for success in the right way. Now, this is especially important for people who are just starting out on their organizational journey. Okay, if you have just decided that, okay, this is it. I'm ready to get organized. I want to be an organized person. Here's why I want to be an organized person, right? That understanding of what you're doing this all for is a really crucial part. Okay, so if you have decided that maybe for the first time, or maybe you are, one of those folks who has been trying for a while, trying to get organized, and you start, maybe you make some progress, but then, life comes at you. And so you have these setbacks, and then you restart, and you make some progress, but then here comes life again, right? And so you get caught in that cycle of start, stop, start, stop. Or maybe you're even someone who was all gung ho, you dove in head first and you went, whoa, I bit off more than I can chew. Especially if you are in that last group, today's episode is for you. But really, anyone who has a desire to get organized needs to hear today's message, because far too many people who I have encountered in my job as a professional organizer, going into people's homes, with my coaching clients who I work with and talking to them about, what's going on in their homes. And it's amazing. I do life coaching, and it's been amazing to see, what all these different women have come to me for as far as coaching. And underneath it all, every single client of mine has a desire to get better organized. It's been really, really eye-opening for me to see that. And far too many people get all excited, we get all hyped up, we get that motivation, we get everything going, we are ready, right? We get all our supplies, we get, all the things we think we need to get organized, and we go charging into maybe our bedroom closet, and we just start pulling things out and throwing things on the bed, throwing things on the floor. Maybe kind of there's some loose categorization going on, but essentially what we are doing is making a gigantic mess. Have you been there? Or maybe, if you listened to episode 1 or you read the blog post, you saw all about my basement storage area that we tackled long time ago now. And it was a mess. And when I think back to, even before we finally tackled it the right way, all the attempts that I had made at trying to get that space organized, it almost always just started with me like throwing things out of the room and making this massive mess in the other parts of our basement. It doesn't really matter what space you're tackling. We do this, right? We make this huge mess, and then we turn around and we see this mess, and it's like it absolutely zaps all the energy, all that hype that you worked so hard to build up, all of that motivation that was with you, it zaps it right out of you, right? When you turn around and you see that and you think, what did I do? I know you've seen the memes. I know you've seen the reels where there's a woman sitting in the middle of her floor. Maybe it's in her bedroom, maybe it's in the closet, but she's done exactly that, right? And she has these piles of clothes and accessories and bags and who knows what, all scattered around her. And maybe she's sitting there like eating a cup of yogurt, something random like that. And it's just like that. The caption is something along the lines of when the motivation wears off, right? We bite off more than we can chew because we get excited. And there's nothing wrong with getting excited. But, I don't know if you've read the book Atomic Habits. If you haven't read Atomic Habits, it is a must read for anyone. I guarantee you, anyone who reads the book Atomic Habits, it's by James Clear. Anyone who reads that will have multiple takeaways. You will find little nuggets in that book that resonate with you, that click with you, that will help you live a better life by your own terms, right? It's really an amazing book. And in that book, he talks about the idea of starting habits small. And I could not agree with him more, because what do we know about organizing, decluttering? It is not a one and done, my friends. You are not going to go through your home, organize everything one time, even if it takes you months to do it. It's not going to be like a one-time process and then you get to walk away from it and just automatically your space is going to stay organized. No, that's not how it works. And so you need to realize that this is all going to be based around habits. You have to be able to create the habits for yourself that are required for you to continue living in an organized way. And when you start to think like that, and you start to understand how crucial those habits are, then you can take some of these nuggets from James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, and understand that when you start small with your habits, it helps make it a lot easier for you to stick to them. The same thing. It doesn't matter what your habit is. Doesn't matter if you want to build a habit to read more books. Start small. It doesn't matter if you want to build a habit around exercise. Start small. Start insanely small. Start with something so small that you think that is ridiculous. Of course, I can do that. Like if you're working on reading more books, okay? Maybe your habit is going to be that I'm going to read 1 page every day. That's your habit. And you think, wow, that is ridiculously easy for me to stick to. And so you're going to stick to that habit of reading 1 page every day. Now, are there going to be days when you want to read more pages? Yes. Can you do that? Yes. Just because you want to go above and beyond your habit, there's nothing wrong with that. But your habit is something really, really small. So small that it is absolutely manageable, doable for you under any circumstances. That even on the days when you're like, oh man, I am so tired. Yes, I can read 1 page. And you can continue to create consistency for yourself, evidence for yourself that you're going to show up for these goals that are important to you. But again, it's going to come back to what we talked about at the beginning of this episode, that you have to understand why that's important to you, whether it's reading books or organizing your space. Why is it so important to you? What's that motivation for you, right? Now, if it's that you want to exercise more, okay, I'm going to put on my tennis shoes and walk to the corner of the street and back every day, or 5 times a week, whatever it is that you want your habit to be. Okay. That is a very small little nugget right there, that I'm going to put my shoes on and I'm going to walk to the end of the street. For me, depends on which direction I go. It's either 3 houses down or it's like 12 houses down. So I could challenge myself. But maybe I choose the 3 houses down direction because that makes it super manageable, that even if it's, a gross day outside, that I can manage to walk 3 houses down and 3 houses back. I'm done. I did it. I showed up for myself. And maybe you're thinking to yourself right now, like, Lauren, that sounds really silly. But now, okay, let's transfer it over to organization. So I'm going to find one item every day to declutter from my home, or 5 times a week, or 3 times a week. Whatever it is that's your goal, start small. Or I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes, however many times a week, 3 times, 5 times, 7 times. It's up to you. And I'm going to spend those 5 minutes going through a drawer, going through a shelf, going through, whatever it might be, whatever space in your home. First of all, I want you to understand that you are building that habit by showing up for yourself. Second of all, remembering that when you feel that extra motivation, when your why is really resonating with you on any particular day, yes, you can go above and beyond. And lastly, that you're just creating a space and that evidence for yourself that you're going to show up, right? You're building that habit and you're helping to reinforce that kind of subconscious thinking that we don't do that on purpose, but it's just how our brain works. We're teaching your brain that this is important to me. This is why it's important to me. And because it's important to me, I'm showing up for it every single time that I say I'm going to. So when we start really, really small like that, it's really easy for us to be successful. And when we're successful over and over again, that's what helps to reinforce these habits that are required for us to be able to live life in a way that we want to live our life. Organized, right? And so I want you to see that when you open your closet and you say, "Holy cow, my closet is a hot mess express. I have got to do something about this space." That the wise way to start to set yourself up for success is to choose one small area of your closet to focus on. Is it going to be this one particular hang bar of clothes that I'm doing today? Is it going to be this one shelf of sweaters that is a mess that I need to go through because I do not wear very many sweaters? Why are there all these sweaters in my closet? That's me. Does that resonate with you too? Where do these sweaters come from? I don't like to wear sweaters. I like to wear sweatshirts. I'm into comfy clothes. But that's neither here nor there. Do you see what I'm saying? You just have to pick what's that one thing, and that one thing needs to be small. If you have drawers in your closet or you're tackling your dresser, pick one drawer. Go back. Just a couple weeks ago, I shared a whole episode on the 4 easy steps for organizing. Follow those 4 steps. I'll link it in the show notes so you can get to it easily. But follow those steps in that one designated space. And then when you're done, if you are mentally done also, then allow yourself to walk away successful. Allow yourself to walk away with that small win. And if you finish that drawer or that shelf or that hang bar and time is on your side, energy's on your side, you're feeling good, then girl, go get another space done. That is totally acceptable. But set yourself up for success. Set your expectations at the right level to make it absolutely a no-brainer for you to show up for yourself each and every day. Because, my friend, when you do, that is how you begin to live life organized from all angles. See you next week.